over Hawaii,
crazy
Captain.
Dan is about George.
Yeah.
Well, why don't we invite him to a birthday party? That way she'd have a double surprise.
Hey, you're right. That is an inspiration.
Hi, honey. How'd it go? What about George?
I couldn't find him. There's no George in Jan's class. Hi, Dad.
What's the word on George?
It's a mystery, Dad. I checked in the attendance office. There's no George Glass in the whole school.
Well, Mike, the mystery about George deepens.
I cover this whole area. There's no George Glass in this part of town.
Are you thinking the same thing I'm thinking?
Mm-hmm. There's no George Glass, period.
Exactly.
From the Brady Bunch archives, the George Glass, the famous George Glass episode.
Oh my God!
In which in which Jan had a fake boyfriend, and apparently Manti Teo has the same sort of issue.
Well, he has an excuse. There's the internet now.
That's really true.
I wonder how Robert Reed felt when he was acting that script out, knowing that his entire life was a lie. But that was a different era.
Yeah, that's true. All right, hey, Jackie Pepper. Pepper on Sports is she's got a blog, and let me just tell you something about Jackie Pepper's blog. Today, breaking more news. It is interesting. I heard Rush talking about this right before we came on about how they're, as he goes, the low information media is beating the mainstream media.
Isn't the low
information media is what he was calling the internet and talk radio and all the rest of that. But it is really a fascinating thing. And Jackie's breaking some information here that it's possible that Manti Teo and his teammates may have been aware of the hoaxy nature of this long before the December 26th that Notre Dame University is saying was the date that they found out. What do you know, Jackie?
Hey, guys. Yeah, by the way, great Brady Bunch clip. Love that one.
Yeah.
Total classic. And I'll take the backhanded compliment on the low news source thing. That's
the low information media.
Hey, Jackie, given some of the...
Short, but,
Better than no information.
I know, right? Okay, so here's the deal. It looks like Manti's teammates were totally buying into the whole thing that he had this girlfriend. He met her once, which he had maintained. He met her after a Stanford game a couple of years ago in Palo Alto. But they started to get suspicious right around the Michigan State game when the alleged girlfriend also passed away basically within 24 hours of his grandmother. And here's the thing that set the guys off. They were not made aware of this until the press came to Manti talking about it. So the team did not seem to have been told of the dead girlfriend situation before the media was told, and that's kind of what set off the light bulb in these guys' heads. And they were like, something's not adding up here. It seems to be too coincidental.
So, Jackie, I mean, this just seems kind of adds a lot more, fuel to the fire, the belief that, maybe Teo went into this with good intentions and really believed that this girl existed, but a lot sooner than just a couple of days ago, there was awareness on the part of him and staffers at Notre Dame that something wasn't right, yet they just didn't want to put the brakes on this runaway publicity train.
Right. The source that I talked to, and I talked to more than one Notre Dame player, but only one was willing to even anonymously go on the record. So I'm going to leave the other guys totally out of this. But the one who allowed me to publish his quotes said that he does give Manti the benefit of the doubt in saying that he believes he was at some point originally duped into thinking he had met this girl online, and then she mysteriously died. And that's when he thinks that Manti knew something wasn't right around the death situation. He didn't specify whether he thinks that Manti knew before she, quote, died or after she died that this person wasn't real. But he does think that Manti was originally fooled into something and that he was not in on it from the very beginning. But he said to me that he thinks the reason why the lie was perpetuated is because the media grabbed onto the story initially, and then basically Manti felt like he couldn't stop it. It's like once you go down that rabbit hole of lies, it's probably really hard to stop without completely embarrassing yourself. But too late for that.
Now, Jackie, I'm going to ask you something because you've been a sports journalist for about a decade. You should be pretty cynical, hard bitten.
Ouch.
Do you believe, Jackie? Well, I want your instinct on this. Do you think Manti Teo is complicit in any way in this?
Yes. Oh, for sure. And, I mean, listen, I didn't need to hear anything from the Notre Dame guys to figure that out. The Deadspin article, which to me sounds completely legit and trustworthy, there's just no way he didn't know something. It doesn't mean he knew from the very beginning and that he was in on it from the get-go, but they have evidence. I mean, it's all there. There's a timeline, there's sources, there's family members, there are tweets, there's everything. And he had to have known at some point. And I, unfortunately, just my personal gut instinct is that he knew sooner rather than later, and that he's probably been deep into this lie for quite some time. The reason, that remains to be seen. There are a lot of different theories as to why someone would do this.
Wow. I've never seen anything like this. I mean, we've seen hoaxes before. And of course, Jackie, people are still trying to figure out, the motivation behind the hoax, because usually when there's a big scam, when someone claims to have written a book, with the blessing of Howard Hughes, usually there's a financial pot of gold at the end of the rainbow.
You see, you asked me about being a hard-nosed cynic and everything, and while reporting, I like to put on my reporter blinders and just go straight for the information. I'm a very empathetic person, and I like to think, how could somebody logically do this? What could be a motivation that would lead someone in this direction? To me, just the fame and notoriety is not enough to back yourself into that corner. I think there's something deeper. I have my own personal theories with zero backup.
I think everybody's got their own personal theory, Jackie. I know what you're saying there. I think everybody's thinking the exact same
or a variation thereof. But it's funny. I had a chance to talk to Manti's publicist that he just signed this morning.
What convenient.
Yeah. And Manti went and got one of the biggest crisis guys, celebrity and sports figure crisis guys in the country.
Which guy is
Matthew Hiltzik. And it really is an interesting thing, because they're at this point they can't really say anything about him other than to say that we're representing him, and that's the way it is. But what I was able to glean from the conversation was that they're not going to be immediately responding like today. There was a rumor earlier today that he was going to come out and make a statement. My sense is that that's not going to happen today, maybe not even tomorrow. But
if they're smart, they're going to plan this thing out.
Yeah, and then that didn't stop me from giving some advice. If it were me, here's what I'd do.
Well, Teo said he wanted to talk to his girlfriend, Betty Rubble, and make sure that it's okay. Hey, come on now.
Too soon. His fake girlfriend's just now. She's not even cold in the fake grave.
Oh, my goodness.
All right,
Terrible.
Jackie, thanks very much.
It's worse and worse.
I know. Thanks, Jackie.
Thanks, Jackie. Good work.
You're welcome. Thanks for having me, guys.
All right, pepperonsports.com, by the way, is where the blog
Make sure
is.
you read that story. Very, adds a lot more insight into this crazy case.
Chuck Gowdy, the Silver Fox, has just stepped into the studio, and he's got something on.
He's real too, by the way. We've seen him.
But first, hold on.
Hold on.
45 seconds.
That's also real.
Tried to speak, but traffic and weather come first.